Tonight's episode of ABCA At-Home Perspectives is made possible by Pocket Radar. Pocket Radar's smart coach app system, with its unique ability to automatically capture videos with embedded velocities, allows coaches to stay connected and work remotely with current players and new recruits. Their Bring Your Training Home initiative will provide education and resources, including webinars and a limited time discount to help players remotely train, develop, and be seen at home with video analysis tools. Check out their 2020 Expo Theater presentation located in the ABCA Video Library.
One focus, one cue that forces you to simplify.
Toughness is a muscle. It's not a gene. You're not born with toughness.
Can I tell you the number one problem coaching anybody today? Everybody's offended.
You're the example for them. Look yourself in the mirror and go, am I giving these kids enough?
The only thing worse than being blind is having sight without vision.
When people start celebrating small things that occur on the field, the next thing you know, you got this small amount of energy, and then it just builds up. And the next thing you know, the environment, the energy in the environment that is created is very positive, and it's contagious, and it's very enthusiastic. And really, as a coach, that's what you want.
Welcome to the American Baseball Coaches Association's At-Home Perspectives. The ABCA will be organizing and streaming live virtual coaching clinics featuring a different panel discussing a different element of the game every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. These clinics will be archived and available to watch on demand within the My ABCA mobile app and the Coaching Resource Library section of our website. Interact with us on Twitter. Send your questions to @ABCA1945 with the hashtag ABCAAtHome. Don't forget to include your name and rep your program. Since 1945, the ABCA has been bringing great coaching minds together to educate, mentor, guide, and support the greatest game in the world. Tonight is no exception, so grab your notebook and prepare to lock in for the next 90 minutes. We have a great conversation in store for you. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jim Richardson, and this is ABCA at Home. Tonight's episode will focus on the current landscape of NAIA baseball, what it is, why it's important, and what you need to know about it. Our lineup card is stacked with 5 ABCA member coaches dialed in and ready to go. We're tight around the fences, so everything's in play, and we intend to hit on as many topics as possible, from recruiting and scholarships to core values in player development. We're going full tilt into the landscape of NAIA baseball. With that, I'd like to have our panel go around the horn and introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Billy Berry, the head baseball coach at Tennessee Wesleyan University, located in Athens, Tennessee. Athens is located about 45 minutes south of Knoxville and about 45 minutes north of Chattanooga on I-75. We are a school of 1,000 students, right at about 1,000. Our campus is located in downtown Athens, spread out throughout the downtown area. Currently, we are working on some couple different projects throughout our university that are going to be really cool as far as upgrades moving forward. Myself, I'm from Richmond, Virginia originally. Graduated from Mills Godwin High School in Richmond. Played at Bluefield College. Graduated from Bluefield in 98, in 98, and started my coaching career. And had a 4-year stint in high school at 2 different high schools, and then moved on to Bluefield as an assistant, and then became the head coach at Bluefield field in 2004 and was the head coach there 2004, 2005, and then became the head coach in the summer of 2005 at Tennessee Wesleyan. Been there now going on 13 years.
Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Manny Cervantes. I'm the head baseball coach over at Asbury University. Thanks for the Jim. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about
my pleasure.
NAIA level baseball and be able to hopefully talk about a little bit about our conference and our program. Really appreciate that. I'm hard to believe I'm starting my 7th year at Asbury University. Asbury is located right outside of Lexington, Kentucky. Been able to coach at all different levels. Been coaching for about 20 years plus. You name it, youth, travel, high school, college, professionally. Prior to Asbury, I was an assistant coach at Oklahoma Christian University, which is a Division II school outside of Edmond, Oklahoma. Was under the leadership of just a great coach, great man, Lonnie Cobble. A lot of fun, learned a lot there. Prior to that, I coached at the high school level and did private instruction as well. Grew up in Southern California, just outside of the Orange County area. Out of high school, I was drafted from the Mets organization, decided to go play at Oklahoma State University for Coach Gary Ward. And then my last year, my connection to Kentucky is I transferred to the University of Kentucky, played for Coach Keith Madison, who's a ABCA Hall of Famer. Again, got to play and coach with the Mariners, great experience there, great opportunity there. But I realized very quickly that my playing career was going to be short-lived when I saw Griffey and Junior run around spring training. I thought, man, I better figure out something else to do because I don't think I'm going to be here very long. So I also want to mention a couple important people as far as just helping me in my coaching journey. My wife, Jamie, she's really the head coach of our family. We've been married 27 years. I couldn't do it, especially at this level where you're really responsible for a lot of different areas. I really couldn't do it without her support. And then also my 3 great kids. I've got a daughter who lives and works in Texas. And then my son, Jacob, who actually plays for us. He actually pitches for us now, which is pretty unique experience, getting to coach your son and really trying to soak that in and enjoy that. And then my youngest daughter just finished high school. She's, Jim, I know you have a connection to Belmont. She'll be attending Belmont this fall.
Oh, nice.
And then
nice.
Last thing real quick. Just want to, mention my former and current assistant coaches. Definitely could not do this job and without those guys. So I really appreciate it. My current guys, Brandon, Jeff, and Will. Those guys, without their support and help, and just those guys, really coaching up, loving our guys, couldn't do what we do. So, but again, just appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Manny.
Yeah, my name's Kip McWilliams. I'm the head baseball coach at Indiana Tech. We're located in Fort Wayne, Indiana, the second largest city in the state of Indiana, which is kind of nice. We're about 2 hours northeast of Indianapolis, about 2.5 hours from Detroit, and about 3 hours from Columbus, Ohio, because right in the tri-state area there a little bit. I'm born and raised in Bloomington, Indiana. Played multiple sports in high school there at Bloomington South. Went to college to play football and baseball, but got my degree from Indiana University and was coaching at IUPUI for a couple of years when they were Division I. They no longer have a program, but then went to Marian University for 8 years, coached there, and been at Indiana Tech now for my 14th season. So, a few people to thank. I definitely want to thank my wife and daughter as well, who definitely have no fear of telling me what I do wrong every day, but I definitely work for it. But also the former players and coaches I've coached with, and also the ABCA. Couldn't really do this stuff without you guys. It's been great to be part of a great membership and everything as well with the references, but also just the relationships we have with everyone there too.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Kip.
All right, my name is Jorge Perez. I'm the head baseball coach and assistant athletic director at St. Thomas University. We're located in Miami, Florida. My career as a baseball player and coach, really a tale of two cities. It was in Miami, Florida, and also in did some high school in New Jersey. Left New Jersey and signed on with Rollins College, Division II school in Winter Park, Florida. Was there for 5 years. Had a redshirt year with an injury. Actually, the best thing that happened to me, I became a catcher my last year in college, and that gave me my opportunity to play professional baseball for 3 years. So I bounced around a little bit. After pro ball, I went back home to New Jersey and started coaching at a school called Kane University, Division III school in Union, New Jersey, and got into it by mistake. My brother was actually on the team. I came to see him play a fall game, and they offered me a job. I wasn't even looking for a job. But got to into coaching by mistake. I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't know when that was going to start. So I was at Kane for 3 years, scouted 1 year with Tampa when they started, and went to St. Thomas just from coming down in March to play in Florida for 10 or 11 games. Was playing against St. Thomas a few times. I had a lot of respect for that program with the former players and coaches they had. And put in a resume to be an assistant coach, and that's how I started at St. Thomas. Was there for 2 years, left after 2 years, and coached high school baseball for another 6 at South Dade High School and Gulliver Prep, which was one of the better schools down here in Miami. And then the head coaching job opened up. I put in for it. The former head coach, Manny Cervantes, was there, recommending me for the position, and started in 2009 was my first season at St. Thomas. Very fortunate to be there. It's a hotbed of baseball, but it wasn't always, we've had some very good seasons lately, but it wasn't always like that. It had a rocky start. Had to work get my name on the map a little bit, get the staff going, get the right guys around me. But it's been great. And besides that, again, very fortunate. Was on the USA team as a coach in 2018. Was able to experience that with the best players in the world in college baseball, and also was able to experience, we've been fortunate to go to the College World Series a few times, and that's a tremendous experience also. So again, JR, happy to be here, man, and anything I could do to help, it's more than my pleasure.
Appreciate it, Coach. Appreciate it.
Guys, I'm Erich Pfohl, head coach at Hope International University out here in Fullerton, California. We are about to enter our 5th season of competition. Had the great fortune of being hired here to start the program from scratch 4 years ago now, and has been an incredible journey ever since. My coaching started at a local high school here in Orange County, Warren High School down in Downey. Ventured down to San Diego, had a chance to work for a pretty legendary coach down there, Steve Vickery. Was at El Capitan High School, ran into a internship with Tom House, and had the luxury of getting involved into pitching with him, and kind of meeting some people involved in professional baseball that had some ties into different industries up in Orange County at the collegiate level, and worked my way into a job at Vanguard University for a year. From there, was able to move on to a Division II school, Cal State Dominguez Hills, in the CCAA. Spent 5 years there. My last season there, I went out to Cape Cod and was able to be assistant coach for ABCA Hall of Famer Scott Pickler, and was just an experience of a lifetime out there. We ended up winning the tournament that summer. It was a blast, and a great experience being around those guys, and certainly Coach Pick, and now current head coach at Bowling Green now, Kyle Halleck, was on our staff with us, and Domingo Ayala made it fun for us too. So we had a great time out there. After that summer, I ended up getting hired at Hope International, and kind of trying to make our way out here and create the expectations and live up to the hype for the university of what they're trying to get us to do. So appreciate you having us on. Looking forward to this, and excited for the rest of the evening.
Erich, thank you so much for being here. Gentlemen, thank you all, for making the time to be here with us this evening. I think an appropriate place to start, and I know some of you may have already touched on some aspects of your institutions, but ultimately is to provide an overview of your schools, the size of the school, type of campus, degree programs offered, what makes your school unique, and what's kind of on the horizons for your institutions. Coach Barry, I'd start with you. I know you shared a little bit of that already, but is there anything you kind of want to add to it? Take us through a little bit of, to quote Jack Warren, like the 35,000-foot view down onto Tennessee Wesleyan.
Okay. Like I said, we're about 1,000 students. We're about 800 students on campus. 860 some on campus. Then we have a nursing program that's down in Knoxville that makes up the rest of our enrollment. We've got some new programs that are starting, which are really cool. We've got a master's program that's starting. We're also starting occupational therapy, and we're starting some other programs with that. So we're growing, which is always good. We got a great president, Dr. Harley Knowles, great AD and Donnie Mayfield, great support staff, and the people that we have. I think some of the things that are unique about our program is the pedigree of our program, the men who have coached prior to myself, the guys who have been assistants, and where they are now. I took over in the summer of 2005 for kind of two guys. Ashley Lawson was the head coach there from 2000 until about the fall of 2004. He has since moved on. Since then, he was an area scout with the San Diego Padres. He was an East Coast cross-checker with the San Diego Padres, left professional baseball for a minute and went in and took an assistant's job at the University of Tennessee, and now is a special assignment to the general manager for the New York Mets. Also, at that point in time, Willie Boss took over on an interim basis. Willie has worked in professional baseball in a couple different roles as an area scout. Now he is an agent with the Diamond Sports Agency. They manage names like Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr. We've got Stephen Baker, who was an assistant from 2010 until 2015, is now an area guy with the Padres. Matt Briggs was an assistant there, was an East Coast cross-checker with the Toronto Blue Jays. Brad Neffendorf, who was an assistant on our national championship team, is now the head coach at LSU Shreveport. So I think what's really cool is the pedigree and the guys that have coached there that kind of started their roots there and now and where they are today. I think it's pretty cool. Gives us an opportunity to really attract some really good kids because of those connections and those people that are out there watching games on a daily basis. So that really helps us in the recruiting process in what we do. I think some of the kids that we've had, obviously, we've been able to, we've been fortunate enough 13 of the last 17 years. We've had at least one draft pick, 13 of the last 17 years. We've had 26 drafts total in the last 13 years. We've had 17 free agents. We've had 31 independent guys. So right now we currently have Taylor Saucedo, who's in AAA with the Toronto Blue Jays. Ryan Hartman, who was a 9th round pick in 2016, is in AAA with the Houston Astros. We also have Tyler Reichenborn, who's a center fielder on our national championship team, who is now in the St. Louis Cardinals organization. Juan Mateo, who was a pitcher for us a year ago, signed a free agent contract with the Cleveland Indians. So I think for being a small school and being one of those schools that doesn't have the enrollment that most schools have, we've been able to really turn out some fantastic coaches that have moved on, but also some fantastic players that have moved on as well. And so we are, I think the history of our program, we really talk about our tradition and what that means. As far as the classroom goes, our biggest major right now, we have two really pretty big majors. Anything that has to do with business, finance, accounting seems to be something that our guys are extremely interested in. Criminal justice is another big part of our university and what we do there. And then we've got exercise science and some other things. So we're turning out about we're at about a 90% graduation rate for our program. I'd love to say it's 100%, but I'd be lying. So, we have a lot of guys that finish up their eligibility, but then come back to finish, which is always good. But very proud very proud and humbled to be the head coach there because of the history and because of everything that has happened in that program and all the great men. Wayne Norfleet, who kind of started the whole deal for us back in the late 80s to early 90s, and that's really what got us on the map. And then into Ashley Lawson, who started in 2002. What people don't really realize about our program is we've won at least a share of the conference, either outright, the tournament, or the regular season and the tournament 18 straight years in a row, which is I think is a pretty impressive feat to do at any point in time. And that's kind of something that we talk about, in that first meeting, that you got to win the league to be able to keep moving forward. So, again, very humbled and very proud of our tradition and very honored to be the one that gets the opportunity to try to keep it moving forward on a daily basis.
No doubt. I mean, no pressure or anything. You got to get 19 next year, Billy. So, I mean, but it's a good kind of pressure. It's an expectation. It's not so much pressure. Coach Cervantes, same kind of question to you. Give us a background overview of what's going on at Asbury University.
Yeah, quick profile. Asbury is a faith-based Christian university. It's part of our culture, part of our DNA. It plays really important as far as our development of our guys, off the field and our students. We have about 1,600 undergrad students, ratio-wise, as far as faculty to students, about 13 to 1. So our parents love it. I don't know how much our guys love it because our parents love the personal connection. As far as our guys, that our professors, if they miss a class or two, I usually get a phone call or an email saying, "Hey, are you guys traveling?" or "Where's Johnny?" So, but it's a good thing. It's a very personal, intimate relationship. Like I mentioned, we're located just outside of Lexington, about 30 minutes southwest of that area. So between Lexington and us, as you leave the city limits, you run into a bunch of beautiful horse farms. Obviously, Kentucky is known for that. So it's a beautiful area, beautiful drive as you get to the outskirts. As far as just the majors in education, we offer about 50 different majors, all the typical standard ones, but probably our most popular ones are media communications, which is kind of, believe it or not, for a small college, it's a world-renowned type program. It's the journalism, radio, TV side of things. We also have a very strong business school that offers kind of a master's undergrad, like a 5-year program where you can kind of get both degrees. So that seems to be very popular with our guys. And then our sciences are really popular as far as our pre-med program. So not a lot of bunny classes there. It's pretty demanding, rigorous kind of environment, but it's a good thing. And as far as on the horizon, I think probably the most exciting thing as far as what's going on with our university is we recently installed a new president about a year ago, Dr. Brown. And man, he has an athletic background, played Division II basketball, but is an incredible leader, visionary, but more importantly, he's an incredible man. And so we're really proud of him representing our university. And we also, a couple years ago, Mark Whitworth became our vice president of intercollegiate athletics. And he's really come in, has a background with the SEC, and really has kind of come in and really committed to take our athletic department kind of to that next level. So that's pretty exciting. As far as the program, I have the honor of being the first full-time baseball coach ever at Asbury. So we've had a lot of good players, good coaches, before me, but as these guys can attest to, it's hard, when a coach is juggling different jobs and all that, to be able to coach at this level and trying to be competitive. So I'm really thankful that the university has kind of bought into the vision to, hey, let's see what this baseball program can become, and let's invest some resources and let's kind of get behind it. So I'm very thankful for our administration and leadership, for putting that trust in the program and in our coaching staff. So.
No doubt. Thank you, Coach. Coach McWilliams, what's going on over at Indiana Tech? Obviously, the Tech's there for a reason. Does that play a role in the curriculum, or give us a basic overview of what you guys got going on?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're known that we're an engineering school. It's our top area of study. We have about 3,000 students total enrolled here at Indiana Tech. We do have satellite campuses all throughout the state, as well as the Midwest a little bit too. But we have about 14 to 1,500 on the main campus. Engineering, of course, is our top area of study. Criminal justice, sports management, business. We just started the health sciences as well, just last couple of years. So we're growing, quite a bit, especially just here on the main campus. And something that, these coaches that are on this committee with me here that understand this too, that mostly NAIA schools, and what's unique about Indiana Tech is that the commitment that the upper level, the vice presidents and the presidents have towards the student athletes. And, we know we're all enrollment driven. And so we all want to bring those students in and those student athletes in, but we're just blessed to have pretty decent budgets and pretty nice facilities just to try to accommodate that great experience for our student athletes, for sure. So a lot of great things going on here in Indiana Tech. We just actually built a a brand new track and field stadium for our track and field team that just won national, I think like 5 or 6 national championships in a row.
Wow.
But yeah, they won it without one. So I told the track, good luck getting this track stadium when you win national championships without a track. But they finally got that built. The softball stadium, they just built that. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful facility just kind of off campus here. So they definitely have that commitment here. And I guess kind of the uniqueness about this too is, especially being the engineering school, I probably have about 25, 30 engineering majors on the team. And
wow.
And in 2019, we were blessed to make it to the World Series, and we just won the final game at opening round. And I had 3 guys, seniors, that were on the phone with their bosses because they already had job offers before they graduated. And I was concerned, these 3 guys who are very impact players for us in the lineup, they may have not have been able to make the World Series because their boss wanted them to start their job by June. And so they had to get permission to start 2 weeks later. So this is kind of scary a little bit when it comes to that, but it just shows what kind of quality of students we have at Indiana Tech.
No doubt. That's awesome. So, I mean, would have they forfeited the job if their boss didn't give them permission? I mean,
with what they're paying them, I don't think they're going to forfeit that job. It was this really high paid jobs they get. So
nice. Thanks, Coach. Coach Perez, same question goes to you. What is going on down there in South Florida at St. Thomas? I mean, I've seen lots of stuff on your guys' website. It looks like you have a very developed sports information department out there. But yeah, take us through what it's like down there at St. Thomas.
Well, our school's grown tremendously in the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years more than anything. We have a new president that just came in, David Armstrong, a couple of years ago. And what he's done in our school, I've never seen a president so involved, not only with, as a leader for every student and staff member, but big on athletics. He was a former football coach. When he started his career, has been everything from an AD to an admissions counselor, vice president, provost, everything, all the way now to a president. So his support has been tremendous. We've grown. Our sports is unreal in the sense that we just got a football program. We're starting wrestling this year, starting swimming this year, and also starting a flag football team, a women's flag football team. So on the athletic side, it's been unreal. Academically, we're known for a few things. One of them is sports administration in the business field. We're one of the top 5 schools in the country offering that. We've had an enormous amount of people that have graduated from our school have had successful careers in front offices in both, major league, NBA teams, NFL teams, all over the place, scattered all over the country. Our business school is one of our biggest draws also. We're just about to finish building in the fall, the Gus Machado Business School. It's about a $10 million building. State of the art, right in the middle of campus. So that's exciting for our students and our staff members. We also have a law school on campus, one of the best law schools also in the country, has won an enormous amount of awards. So we're very known for that. Enrollment, we have the number keeps fluctuating, man, because we're growing so fast, but I would say, 1,400 is where we're at undergrad, about 600-700 grad students. I'm not sure of the law school, but it's 2 capacities. So we have a good number of law students there. Now, baseball-wise, again, like Billy said with Tennessee Wesleyan, the tremendous amount of tradition. The coaches have come out of St. Thomas for a school as small as ours is unreal. We had Paul Maneri, who's the current coach at LSU. He started he started here in '82. After being at Columbus High School for a year, was here for about 5 years. Left to the Air Force Academy after that, then to Notre Dame, ended up at LSU. So a coach of that caliber that started his coaching career at St. Thomas, and very proud of it. All right, talks about it all the time to his players. So that makes me proud as a coach. After him, there was Al Avila was the coach for about 3 years. Al Avila is the current general manager for the Detroit Tigers. So you start to see the pedigree of the coaches that have come out of here. Jim Pizzolatto, coached there for a few years. Jim is one of the top guys in the Scott Boras Corporation. So he works for Scott. Manny Cervantes was a coach before me, who played at LSU, played also professional baseball, and then left St. Thomas to coach Division for about 8 seasons. I'm sorry, he's at Texas Pan American. So the coaches, a tremendous amount of experience there, and guys that have gone on to very high levels. And then you look at the players. I mean, we've had a lot of players play professional baseball. A couple, a few guys get to the big leagues. Guys bounce around the minor leagues, and so the tradition was always there. And I think just lately we've just been more consistent. What I learned was one thing I'm very proud of. Our team GPA is 3.2 this past spring. The last 4 years we've been above a 3.0. And although it's an NAIA school and our requirements are a little bit different, if we were to switch to an NCAA school tomorrow, all my guys would qualify. So we're very proud of that. We make sure that they do well in the classroom. And again, the school's growing. It looks, what Mr. Armstrong's done, painted the entire school. Everything's new roads. It's a beautiful, beautiful campus. And then we're very fortunate. We have great weather. So it's
no doubt.
It's a great place to be.
No doubt. Thanks, Coach. Coach Pfohl, same thing goes to you. Give us an overview of Hope International University. And I believe it's a fairly new institution, at least I know baseball-wise. Has it been around for a while, or is this a brand new thing out there?
Yeah, so baseball is new. We implemented baseball, like I said, 2016 was our first season of competition. The university itself has been there since 1928, formerly Pacific Christian College, and gone through a handful of name changes, but now currently, obviously, Hope International University. We're a concrete campus in a college town, which is kind of rare to find. We're, again, located in Cal State in Fullerton. We're literally across the street from Cal State Fullerton. We've got about 550 students on campus undergrad, and 16 sports teams, about 300 athletes drive the enrollment there. That said, again, we got a school of about 36,000 enrollment right across the street. So creates kind of a different atmosphere and environment for a small school that enables us to get the feel of college experience and what a lot of people might be looking for. But at the same time, go to class and you're going to have 10, 11, 12 kids in your class with the professor. So you kind of get a good vibe of both the big school and the small school mixed together. Major-wise, we just are starting to grow finally, which we're really excited about as a university. We added 2 majors last year in interdisciplinary studies to try and help accommodate some transfer students from the junior college and any other universities that they may have previously been at, as well as kinesiology. Prior to that, we had a contract program with Cal State Fullerton that enabled us to have a few other majors: communications, criminal justice, pre-physical therapy. We've brought those again onto campus now. Our biggest major within our baseball program falls somewhere between either the business program or liberal studies, which again kind of allows guys to venture across a number of different study programs rather than focusing on one specific thing, which is pretty unique. Not a handful of schools are able to do that. So we are a faith-based institution. We're not a denominational Christian. That's what we tell our guys. Our job is to develop you as Christian student athletes when you arrive here on campus. And we've been lucky to have guys that believe in the vision that we've had, and they certainly fit in with the university missions and expectations. We're extremely well supported. My boss is unbelievable football coach, a 30-year AD at a high school. Gives us what we need to be successful, in my opinion. And I share with guys, I joke around about it, but the reality of it is if we're not successful, it's on me. And that's a beautiful thing, knowing as a student athlete, not having to worry about what tomorrow is going to bring. Just knowing that support level is going to be there, and he's at our games, and when we lose, he's in the dugout and let me know about it. And so it's a great relationship, a great working relationship. We're lucky to have him, but again, I think with the growth that's happening now, we're excited. We're probably going to have about 7 kids on our team this year, thanks to the COVID deal that are going to be pursuing a master's degree this season, and that's special. To be able to not only say that they're graduating, but for us to be able to continue to foster the opportunity to further their education is pretty awesome for us, and we're excited about that. And actually, you're going to have 2 guys that have already finished that, almost delaying a couple classes to continue playing. So Exciting things on the horizon. We're looking forward to it, but again, we're just scratching the surface, I think, with the infancy of our program and what we hope to continue to achieve.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. All right, gentlemen, we're gonna dive into some info about what makes the NAIA different in regards to athletic scholarships or academic merit-based scholarships, because I think this is definitely an advantage that you have over a lot of institutions. Coach Barry, what is the NA able to do in regards to athletic scholarships for guys? If you want, there's some dude out there that you find at some showcase, or nowadays, I guess maybe find him on the computer or something, that all the showcases are online. But what are you able to offer that guy?
What the NAIA allows you to do is, you get 12 full scholarships, which means that you take the highest tuition, room, board, books, fees of your institution, and that kind of gives you what your scholarship number is. We're fortunate at Wesleyan that our school allows us to get to that 12 and gives us the ability to be able to go and sign those players. Our school only every school is different. Our school will allow us to go up to tuition with a kid. So our current tuition right now sat last year at $23,900. So that would be the cap limit that we could go on a guy. We don't stack as an institution. I know there's some institutions that stack maybe the academic piece on top of the athletic piece. We don't do that. So a lot of times we look at maybe we try to kick in a few extra dollars if we can, as far as scholarship goes, to make up for maybe that academic piece that guy would be missing. But again, I think when you look at it from the standpoint of obviously the limited rosters as well, we have a little bit more of a limited roster, a little bit. Like at the NCAA Division I level, they go 35, 27 on money, that sort of thing. Division II, they have a little bit, they go a little bit higher maybe. We try to keep our numbers somewhere around between 30 and 32. And a lot of that has to do with the fact of, that when we go to the postseason, we're taking 25 guys. So with the NAIA only allowing us to do that, we try to keep our number down a little bit and, with some red shirts and some other things in there. But I think the landscape of scholarship, when you compare it to NCAA Division I and then 11.7 and what that looks like, I think it really does. It makes us competitive across the board as far as the money that we can offer. And obviously, depending on how each school does it, whether it's high school, whether they're recruiting kids right out of high school, or whether they're recruiting, like Erich said, those GC kids or kids from other universities, I think it makes us competitive when it comes time to put an offer on the table to a kid for what the NAIA allows us to do with our money.
No doubt. 12 scholarships. Division I, 11.7. Division II, only 9. Coach Cervantes, are there any kind of academic strings attached to these athletic scholarships that are in place that the NAIA puts in place? Not so much your institution, just the NAIA.
Yeah, there's both. I mean, there's obviously from the NAIA perspective, but also each university will decide as far as their minimum requirements. For athletic, it's a 2.0. At our institution, as far as academic aid, you've got to be a 3.0 plus to kind of maintain that. So that's one of the unique things I think that Billy touched on, is that at the NAIA level, you can combine and use both. So you can combine, athletic aid, and then obviously kind of throttle that with academic aid. And so that's, very helpful. It gives some kids an opportunity to come. And our personal philosophy, at least within our program, is that I just felt like if anybody's going to be on our roster, I want them to be able to get some level of athletic aid. I mean, we'll throttle that obviously with the need and position and all that. But as much as we ask these guys to do, on and off the field, that, I feel it's important. It's in a lot of ways, it's kind of like a part-time job, as far as the time commitment. So we'll extend some level of athletic scholarship to all our guys. So.
Awesome. Thank you. Coach McWilliams, I know you're at a high academic institution if you're dealing with majors in engineering. Now, can you kind of walk us through what does stacking scholarships mean? And is that something that you guys do at Indiana Tech, and how does that kind of apply? Because I'm assuming most of these kids coming in are getting some sort of academic aid.
Yeah, majority of our students are. We're blessed with some great academic aid, and And most of our engineering guys will come in with anywhere between 12 to 15,000 academic every year. Our tuition is 27, so we can stack some athletic aid on top of that. The one thing that can hurt NAIA scholarships at times is recruiting really good students. I know it sounds kind of bad, but if you have a student's getting a lot of academic aid like that, and they don't stay in that exemption status, which I can touch on here in just a few seconds, then in the long run, that money can all count towards your 12 scholarships. And, we're blessed with such great students at Indiana Tech and the type of student athlete that we recruit, that most of our players are at some sort of exemption status. And the uniqueness about the NAIA scholarship is that exemption. And if it's a returning student or an incoming freshman, they have a right to actually get some athletic and academic aid that doesn't count towards your scholarship amount. If they're above a 3.6 GPA as a returning student, they would be a full exemption for that year. So if you give them $10,000, then that $10,000 doesn't count towards your 12 scholarships. So even though we do have that 12 scholarship limit, or max, I should say, we still have that opportunity to increase that amount by having some full exemption or even half exemption student athletes on your roster.
Interesting. Now, Coach Perez, it sounds like to me this can get rather difficult, because if you have to count athletic aid for a good student coming into your institution as a freshman, let's say he comes in getting $10,000, you want to give him a little bit of something, you offer $2,000 on top. I'm assuming, that counts against you as $12,000, or almost like 50% of a scholarship. But for him to be exempt, you need him to be a good student while he's at your institution. Like, how are you balancing that? It seems like it's kind of difficult to keep track of all this stuff.
Well, welcome to the NAIA, man. You got to be able to do everything. McWilliams said it. He said it best. The exception is something that, it can get a little complicated, but it's huge. That's why we're so big on athletics. Not only, on academics. We make sure that our players go to class, they do well, we're on top of them, we get tutored. And I do it for two reasons. I first do it because it's their future. Because what's the percentage of any of those guys getting to the big leagues? The second reason I do it, because if we get to an exemption status, like Coach said before, then all of a sudden I can expand my scholarships, and I can get more players or more guys that can help us on the field. So that's one of the reasons why we try so hard to have a good GPA as a team and get those types of guys. And listen, at the end, Coach McWilliams said, hey, sometimes it's hard to get the academic kid, but we've tried to build a tradition and something in our school that it's not about just being a baseball player. We try to get high character guys that are good in the classroom. And I learned a long time ago that if they take care of business academically, if they're responsible, then they're going to do the things they need to do on the field. And it's less that I have to worry about and more that they're going to bring to our team and the field. So academically, yes, we do have a good amount of scholarships, but if you learn how to use it correctly with the exemption status and everything, you can build a strong team. And one thing also that we do that even goes beyond that is that, again, we're very fortunate. We're in a hotbed. We have, I think, 95 of the percentage of my roster are all local guys. I don't really need to go anywhere. So I don't have to, you don't even have to count room and board there. Most of my guys live at home. Some of them live there. We got about 3 guys on the team that live on campus, we have more than live on campus because they choose to. But we have about 3 guys that are either upstate or from a different part of the country. But we have no need to do that. So we're very fortunate. And the more players you get locally, the less money you have to give out, because you don't have to count room and board.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Coach Pfohl, I'm very interested. Let's pretend you're kind of talking to the youth, the high school, the travel coach, the guy who's coaching those recruitable athletes that you're potentially after. What do they need to know? Because, we've spoken the lingo a little bit in regards to scholarships, stacking, exemptions, this way, that way. What does the high school youth travel coach need to know about the type of packages NAIA coaches can put together for them?
Yeah, I mean, it varies school to school, as everybody's kind of said, but I think realistically, it's one of those things that you want to try and get together with an out-of-pocket cost, and trying to figure out based on that, what the give and take can be with your non-negotiables, whether it's location, academics, baseball, whatever it might be. But, I think it's just really getting a good grasp on, can they stack? Are they not allowed to stack? We're an institution that doesn't stack. That doesn't necessarily affect the way that we offer kids, and so I think the relationships that they can build with the coaches in the area, and understanding, I think first and foremost, the types of players that those coaches are looking for and the caliber of players that those coaches are looking for, that's going to be able to provide those coaches the best information to educate their players on maybe what to potentially expect, and maybe not oversell or undersell what any of us are able to provide for them, and I think that's sometimes where, you can run into a little bit of trouble as a kid comes in with an expectation of a dollar amount that he was told, and unfortunately, we're not able to meet it based on, I'm a good student. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't carry a lot of weight all the time. Or, hey, I'm a great baseball player. Yeah, but we have two others of you, And so I think just really trying to educate themselves on what those programs do and what they're looking for at any given time and year.
Awesome. Now, gentlemen, if there's anybody else who has anything to add on to that question, because I think it's rather timely and appropriate as this episode will be archived within our website and our My ABCA mobile application. This could be a resource that players, 2-3 years down the road are looking at in regards to NAIA baseball. Is there anything scholarship-wise, academic-wise that we haven't really touched on? Anything unique institutions do that anybody wants to jump in and share on?
Well, I just think that, like I said earlier, I think every school at the NAIA level is really about the student-athlete experience when it comes to the athletes, and, of course, the student experience with the non-athlete. But, they're going to do everything they can to make it affordable for every family out there financially when it comes to the financial aid office, the academic aid, and so forth. I think sometimes they see that final price, the $27,000, $23,000 and so forth, but if you think about it, it's that quality of education they're going to get and that quality experience as well. I mean, you're going to learn a lot in the classroom, but you're also going to learn a lot on the athletic field. So I think that's important for any athlete to understand about the NAIA.
No doubt. Thank you, Coach. Coach Berry, we're going to jump over to you for a question that's coming to us from Twitter, and it is coming from Stretch Drive Baseball. And essentially what they want to know is, what are the academic thresholds like for an NAIA institution, and how do they differ from D1, D2, D3, and JUCOs? And I know you guys may not be abreast to the current, NJCAA eligibility center stuff, but what's eligibility like for high school players that are coming into the NAIA? What's the process?
The process, most of the time, like Manny was saying earlier, I think some schools have a minimum GPA requirement that they institute that says, hey, for admission to our university, you have to meet this requirement. For the NAIA, for a freshman coming in, they have to have a 2.0. The thing that's unique about the 2.0 overall GPA is, though, where NCAA does core classes and they do weighted GPA, we do overall. So I try to tell guys that, whatever you've taken throughout your high school career, that's going to be what is taken when they send it to the eligibility center. Also, it's an 860, I think, on the SAT, and 18 on the ACT, or finish in the top half of your class, GPA-wise. So you have to meet two of those three requirements as an incoming freshman for eligibility. Once you get into the institution and you meet two of those three, in order to progress with that, you have to pass at least, I think it's 9 hours that first semester. And then obviously it just continues from that point forward. You have to, once you get to junior status, you have to then at that point in time have a 2.0 GPA. You can still be eligible with less than a 2.0 GPA, but you have to pass 24 hours in your last two semesters. And then it goes to a 24, 48, 72 type progression. So By the time you get to that junior status, you have to be 48 transferable hours, or 48 hours towards that graduation, and have a 2.0. And then going into your senior year, 72 hours and past 24 hours in your last 2 semesters. The way they do the semesters is we take the spring and the summer are connected together for those 12 for that 24-hour rule. And then the winter, that fall term, and then the winter term, like if schools do it December mini term, those are connected. So what you do is you take the hours from that fall and that winter, and then that spring and that summer, and that's how you get your 24 hours between 2 semesters.
Easy enough. But hey, as long as you're pulling above a C average, you're in good shape, basically, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's not easy for everybody, but yeah, if you're pulling that C average, you're doing good. Now,
I hear you, man. It wasn't easy for me in my area, that's for sure. But baseball was a huge distraction for me. So in any event, we're going to kind of jump into a little bit, specific to your baseball programs. Coach Cervantes, we'll start with you. What are kind of some of the core values of your program? Like what has made Asbury stand up? Like why are you guys throwing all this money into the baseball field and the facilities out there, which is rather impressive, by the way?
Yeah, I think it starts and ends. I think you have a screenshot of our creed.
Yes, sir.
That really at the essence is what we're all about. And it's this idea of that I am and I will do this. And so what the type of guys that we're bringing in really, and their families kind of value this idea of pursuing excellence as a man of faith, as a student athlete, and then being a great teammate and person. And so we hold those all equally as high. So the guy that perhaps is maybe, really focused on baseball, but not so sure as far as academics or really trying to excel as far as who he is from a character perspective off the field, those aren't really great fits for us. I mean, the kid that really recognizes, I want a ball, I want to maximize that area of my life, but I also understand the importance of getting my education, and I also want to grow from a spiritual perspective as far as a man of faith. Those kids absolutely love our program, and so we put this creed in front of them all the time as far as signage, practice schedules, that kind of thing. So I would say that is at the essence as far as our core value. The other thing I think that we've tried to do is, and I think these guys would say the same, is that, we want to work hard and we want to kind of get after it on the field, but we also want to have fun. The guys aren't signing up to for the military or to work at the salt mill. So it seems like even more of today's players, I think we're going to get the best out of them if they're having a good time. So I remember 2 years ago, we had a tough spell. We got swept in a series, and everybody's kind of distraught coming on the bus. And I was pretty disappointed on how we performed. And so there were two thoughts. One was, we're gonna run this off, and we're gonna get things right. And I just, thankfully I was able to catch my breath a little bit. And I just said, as a team, we just need to exhale. We just need to have fun. And so we ended up, I told the guys on that Monday, hey, Monday, all you'll need is your spikes, meet me at the park, this and that. So they figured, oh my gosh, we're going to end up running. And we ended up playing Frisbee football in the mud. And it was the best thing that we had done all season, because it allowed our club to exhale. And from then on, we went on a pretty good run. And so that was a really good lesson for me as a coach, just realizing, we ask these guys to work hard. They work hard in the classroom, they work hard in the weight room, they work hard in the field, but we've got to maintain some fun. And I think the other part of that too is that, at least, at our institution and within our program, is we want to serve. We want to serve others before we serve ourselves. So we're very intentional about some of the things that we do. I think there are a couple of pictures up there that you have that, where we're involved with a Miracle League organization where it allows disabled kids to be able to play on the field. We'll do trips, we'll do different team building things. Our guys volunteer at the local middle school doing tutoring and all that. And some of that is very intentional because sometimes it's so easy as players and during our season just to really kind of focus on ourselves. And it just seems when you're able to kind of get the focus off yourself and be able to focus on others, it's kind of, there's a little bit of freedom in that, a little bit of service in that. And so, but, you know, I think, you know, at the end of the day, it starts with me as far as our program and our coaches. So, you know, I'm not too big to pull a rake. I'm not too big to, you know, to help with the tarp. You know, it's kind of this idea that, you know, if I want my upperclassmen, my captains, my seniors to do it, kind of have to model it, you know, for them. So this whole idea of service, you know, if you want to lead, sometimes you lead by serving, you know, and sometimes that's, you know, a lot of times it's by example, and then sometimes use words when necessary. So I would think that's kind of a snapshot as far as, you know, just what we believe are some core things as part of our program.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Coach McWilliams, same question goes over to you. What are kind of the core values of Warrior Baseball? What's take us inside the program?
I think any coach out there, youth coach or any level, needs to kind of really ask yourself a question. You know, what do you really want your players and your kids to get out of playing in your program or playing for you? And yeah, we all want to win a national championship. We all want to, and hopefully that will happen someday. But if my guys walk away from here not winning the national championship in 4 years, I don't ever want them to feel like some sort of failure. And I also don't want to ever feel like I failed them. And so we go off some core values and standards that we've had in our program quite some time. And more or less what these add up to is I want our guys to come here as great young men, but leave our program as better men. And then we can all watch each other have their success after their college days, you know, being a father, being a husband, being whatever they feel like that they want to do, is running their own business, being their own boss, or whatever they feel like their success is and what they're shooting for. But to do that, you have to have some sort of roadmap. And these core values and standards, in my opinion, is what our roadmap is here at Indiana Tech. But the core values are pretty simple. It's our faith, it's our family, it's our academics, and it's Indiana Tech baseball. And then wrapped around those core values is our team standards, which is just 3 of them. It's be a gentleman at all times. It's having 3 words in your life, and these 3 words, this is standard number 2, by the way, but 3 words is accountability, reliability, and responsibility. So we want to teach our guys what those meanings really are in life as they go along their 4 years here. And then, of course, the final one, which is the toughest one, I think, to go by, even as a coach, is BBCE, is not tolerated, which is bad body language, blaming, complaining, and excuses. And, you know, I think sometimes as a coach, we fall in that rut of constantly complaining about our kids, about how poorly they're performing and everything else. And we got to be careful about that because, you know, we are those leaders. And if we want our guys to actually walk away from the field saying, okay, hey, we got it tomorrow, then we need to make sure that we're leading them in that right direction for that. But you know, Manny had it said it really well. It's really good to see other programs out there doing that. But I think that's so important with today's youth, but also even young men these days in college to experience something like that.
No doubt. Just to tie this back to you know, some of our convention history, I believe it was Mike Martin, and I can't remember the year, but he gave a presentation and he talked about body language, and it was one of the best presentations, and it was just like a 5-minute section of it. But man, it kind of really hit home to me and made me start evaluating, man, do I have that resting, like I'm not in a good mood face? You can insert whatever word you want to define that. But no, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Coach Perez, same kind of question, core values. What do you guys got going on down there?
Well, I try to see one thing. When I went to Rollins, I had a great coach named Boyd Coffey, and Boyd passed away. I don't know if you know the name, but he was 19 years at Rollins. After that, he was in the Rockies organization and the Cleveland Indians organization. He was one of the top guys there. And one thing about Boyd was that when I got in there, I was young, immature, thought I was great, and I wasn't. And under his tutelage, I went from that to becoming a man in 4 years. And then the inspiration he gave me and what he taught me in my life really had a lot to do with who I became today. So I knew when I became a college coach, if I ever had that opportunity and become a head coach, was to instill that same those same things in my players. So I don't worry about baseball that much. When we start practices and everything, I worry about being on time, being accountable, give me everything you have in the 2.5 hours that you're on the field. And you're wearing St. Thomas across your chest, so you represent the university. Your name is the last thing you worry about, and you play this game for others besides yourself. So those pretty much the core things that we talk about. But we have a system, we have a covenant that we follow. In that covenant is very simple. You're there to get your education first, and hopefully move on into professional baseball if you're fortunate enough. After that, we talk about respecting the umpires, respecting your opponent. Playing with pride every time you get on the field, how lucky you are as an individual. I talk about that a lot, that every day you get to wear a uniform and you're playing college baseball, how fortunate you are as a person and as an athlete. And now more than ever with this COVID stuff and getting everything taken away from us and now sitting at home, you start to appreciate, the things that you really have. But what makes us different? Listen, there's no secrets. We try to recruit well, but we try to recruit the human being. We try to bring in good people. And sometimes when you have that guy that, he's kind of iffy, if you put him around enough good people, a lot of times you turn that guy around. So that's what we try to do. Again, what makes us successful, that's a huge part of it. Making sure we hold everybody accountable. And then I think we have great coaches. We have a good system in place. And we teach the game extremely well. So, and everybody buys in. If your players don't buy in, then you're lost. So everybody buys in, and it's gotten to a point that we have so much tradition. It's a lot easier than it used to be. The guys come in, wait, I better step it up. I better be as good as the guy next to me, or it's not going to work out here. So, and the last thing, Manny talked about having fun and everything. Yeah, you have to enjoy yourself. But it's all about respecting your players. I give the exact amount of respect that I expect them to give to me. But I don't go demanding respect. Yes, you better respect the coaches in the program, but I respect each and every individual. I listen to them. I try to show them some love. Doesn't matter where they fit in the roster, the first guy, the 25th, the 35th. And again, there's no secret. But you have to do things right. And I think that's what our program is a combination of all that. And at the end, it's very simple. Be on time and work hard. Those are my two general rules. If you could do that, everything else falls into place.
Nice, man. Nice. Thank you, Coach. Coach Pfohl, same question to you. What are kind of some of the core values of Hope International University baseball? Take us inside the program a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. I think big for us, we try and focus on transparency, trust, and respect. And to break that down a little bit, the transparency is, we tell our guys, we want to develop you. We want to make you better. And in order to do that, we've got to have open lines of communication. And if you don't like something that we're telling you, you got to let us know so we can find a different way to do that. And, being candid and being blunt sometimes, people want to dance around it. I think that it's something that I'm starting to see that these kids want and strive for and yearn for. And so, just trying to be honest with guys, when we go into recruiting meetings, we lay out our program. We don't ask a lot of questions. This is kind of who we are and this is what we're about. And if it's a good fit for you, we believe you should be in our program. If it's not a good fit for you, find another one, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So being transparent and just being honest with everybody, I think that's a big part of it. The trust, I think, goes a lot of different directions. We're a little bit unique in the sense now that we've transitioned. We run our own weight program, probably similar to everybody else up here. But we went through a couple seasons and, we weren't giving enough heavy lifts to this guy, and that guy didn't like the cardio we were doing. And, we started trying to create a different way to accommodate as many as we can. And we've entrusted our guys to create their own weight programs, and there's guidance around it, obviously, but we've got an app they can download on their Books app and a program they can download in their Books app on their phone. And it's got a laundry list of movements and exercises that they're capable of using. And week guide today is going to be maybe an upper body rotational day, and they get to go pick the exercises that they'd like to do within that confine. And ultimately, that creates some accountability for them. If they don't like the way the weight program is going, they designed it. And so entrusting them to do that. And it's the same for me. My standpoint with my coaching staff. I help out with the pitchers. That's the passion I have. I obviously put my hand in the hitters from time to time, but I trust my pitching coach to do his job, and I trust my hitting coach to do his job. And we've got a recruiting coordinator, and he's young. He took over for a recruiting coordinator that's left on his way to a Division I program already, and we trust them to identify players. And I think when you entrust in people and you empower people to do things, they create that level of accountability for themselves, because ultimately, these guys don't want to fail, players alike, and so I think when we can create that environment, it really has allowed us to grow. And the respect is, again, we're a non-denominational Christian environment. I think that means for me that we're not going to tell you what to believe. We're going to allow you to believe what you want to believe. And I think that the biggest thing is that you respect that your teammates are their belief system is theirs, and in return, they're going to give you the respect that you need to have your own set of belief system. And and that goes on the baseball field as well. We heard on umpires, and we touched on it with opponents. We don't discuss in dialogue a lot about our opponents. It's we're going to go play baseball, but we know that we respect everybody we play, and we know that every single weekend we go into conference, there's a good chance that they're gonna get us at some point in time, and so we prepare and respect the fact that we have a great opportunity. We joke about it in our program, but for mostly the fact that we're brand new, but we say that not one person in our program dreamed about playing baseball at Hope International when they were growing up, and I the same as a coach, but ultimately let's respect the fact that we have a chance to put a uniform on together and continue to play this beautiful game that we're allowed to and able to, that a lot of people would give plenty of sacrifice to do. So, I think those three things, it's easy to throw out some buzzwords. I think for us within that respect, we're really trying to create egoless people that are selfless, that do want to serve. We try and get involved in the community with the little leagues. We've got an Angels RBI program down the street that we get involved in. And, I think anytime you give back, you start to see the amount of sacrifice that it forced, that somebody else had to give to allow you the opportunity that you have. And I think that's special and allows for some barriers to get broken down and really create some vulnerability that makes people eager to be out on the field rather than requiring to be out on the field.
No doubt. Thank you, Coach. Coach Barry, same question goes over to you. Besides like dropping bombs, what are the core values over at Tennessee Wesleyan?
That's the first one. There's a couple things that we do early in the fall, and we've kind of changed some of that, and I think we've kind of restructured a little bit what we'll do going into the season. I think George said it best a few minutes ago. I think what this whole thing has done for us this past spring is really help everybody to kind of reevaluate, where they are in their program and kind of what's important and what are we missing, and it gave us kind of a chance to take a step back. So we kind of talked about it as a staff, and we're kind of doing some different things with our core values and some of the questions that we're asking guys. And one of the things that we're going to ask in kind of a 3-part series is the first question we'll ask our guys is, what is it? What are the sacrifices you're willing to make to win it? And when we talk about winning it, I think that's a definition thing. And for us, it's kind of 3 phases. It's one, what are you going to do to win it in the classroom? What are you going to do to win it off the field? And then what are you going to do to win it on the field? And because I think that's where, for a lot of the guys that we recruit, and obviously some of the guys here as well, we take some guys that are on their second chance. We take some guys that are on their third chance sometimes. So a lot of that has to do with maybe something that happened off the field. A lot of that has to do with something that maybe happened in the classroom, or maybe a promise that was made on the field. So everybody's a little bit different. So I think in answering that question, it kind of starts the process of what they're going to be like a student, what they're going to be like off the field. And you kind of give some guidance to that as well. Also, the one thing that we talk about, we ask our guys 5 questions. In the first, I'll just touch on the first question. But the first question is to ignore the circumstances. There's going to be a lot of things. There's a lot of things that these guys deal with now, with social media and with off the field distraction. There's so many more distractions, I think, today than I was going to college or was coming along, in kind of early in my career. So managing those distractions and kind of helping them to just understand that where the focus needs to be, and really how to attack that focus on a daily basis. And really part of it is, you got guys dating, they're in relationships, and sometimes, 10 minutes before they come to the field, maybe they've had an argument with their girlfriend, and now they've got to deny, you got to ignore that circumstance because we're either playing a game or we're getting ready to prepare. And I think you have to be, as hard as it is, I think we have to understand that they're still 18 to 22-year-olds and they deal with what 18 to 22-year-olds deal with. As far as our core values go with appreciation. They go with teamship. We go with competitiveness, accountability, and then our last thing is family. I think family is one of the biggest things for us. The two things that I think have hit home for us the most is the family piece. We have so many guys that come back to the program. We have so many guys who are alums that come back. The pro guys come back and work out. We have guys that just roll through. We may be practicing one day, and then all of a sudden you see a guy walk up, and he's an alumnus from the 90s or somebody that played with us recently, and they're just rolling through town on business or whatever. And that's always great when guys come back. So I think family is a big part. Appreciation has become a big part of our program. And I think what we found in that is obviously, George asked me a little bit before, but Neil and Pickle has really impacted our program from a standpoint of just understanding life in general and what that means, and to really appreciate the opportunity that you have, to be able to appreciate the abilities that you've been given, the God-given abilities you've been given, to appreciate the fact that you have the opportunity to go out and do something a lot of people don't get to do. And I think watching him, kind of the way he lives his life and the way he deals with the cancer that he's dealing with and the way he's dealt with it over and over again, has given our guys a greater appreciation of what it means to be that 22-year-old kid who is playing baseball and getting his education and really being able to enjoy that process. Because sometimes I think we take it, there were times that I took it for granted when I was going to school, but I think that's one of the biggest things that our guys are learning is just that appreciation for, not just for the opportunity to play baseball, not for the opportunity to get an education, just for the opportunity of life and everything that comes with, that comes inside that. So those are some of the things that we try to hit on, during the fall that takes us into the spring.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Coach Cervantes. Yes.
Could I add something real quick?
By all means.
Think especially, these days within our culture, as far as, what I love about baseball is, this idea of developing men is so important right now, because most of our guys are not going to go out and play in the big leagues 10 years. Most of our guys are going to go on, be leaders in their community, be bankers, be accountants. And we're at a time where, we have such an opportunity to take young men and hopefully using baseball, developing men that can go out to their, to their communities and areas of business and all that. So, I really think what we're doing as coaches, is one of the most important things we could do for our culture these days. So.
It's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Coach. Thank you. I kind of want to get into a little bit about the spring season and your conferences. It's 9:13 over here Eastern time, so technically we've got about 17 minutes left. So I'm not going to ask you to. I want you to answer the question with and provide the content, because coaches are here to have these questions answered. They want to hear from you. But yeah, brief overview. Coach McWilliams, what is the NAIA allowed in regards to spring games? Like, for example, Division I, 56, NCAA Division II, 50, and NCAA Division III, 40, assuming it's a normal year without a global health pandemic. What's the NAIA allowed?
Yeah, the max number is 55 regular season games. Some schools in the past have played maybe 8 to 10 in the fall, northern schools, and then of course they take off the amount in the spring, but not including the postseason. The postseason, of course, you got your conference tournament. Usually you have to win it or the regular season to qualify for the opening round of nationals. The opening round nationals is going to be changing next year and so forth, being more of a not a regional format necessarily, but kind of more or less conferences are going to have their automatic bids already picked to go in certain areas. Schools get a chance to bid on hosting the opening round nationals by April 5th.
Nice.
I know Tennessee Wesleyan's conference usually hosts there in Kingsport, Tennessee. I know the Sun Conference for Georgia's conference, they usually host somewhere around down there as well. But and I know, of course, Eric in California, there's a few schools out there that get the host. But then the 9 winners of it actually go to Lewiston, Idaho for the World Series, and they will have Lewis Clark State College as the host, gets an automatic bid, but that's changing in 2022. So in 2022, there'll be 10 opening round sites, and the 10 winners get to meet in Lewiston out there. Our conference, we're in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. We got 12 schools. We get 2 automatic bids. We'll get maybe a third or fourth bid, maybe 2 at-larges every now and then. Very competitive conference. We've had over 4 different schools in our conference represent us in the NAIA World Series itself. We were fortunate to go last year. The year before that, Uno in our conference got to go. Davenport University has been there. Aquinas has been there. And then the Indiana Tech teams of old, we've been there a total 7 times. But a very competitive conference. And we've had a lot of players drafted out of our conference as well. There about 6-7 years ago, we actually had more players drafted out of our conference than the Big Ten, which was kind of shocking, but very talented group of teams that we have.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Coach. Coach Perez, same kind of question. We've established 55 games. What's a typical spring look like for you? I'm assuming because you're in the spring break trip mecca down there in South Florida, all the teams just come to you and you don't have to travel anywhere. Is that accurate?
No, not really. I wish it was that easy. We're so down south that
that's a good point. Yeah,
that's tough. I mean, we have the schools. I mean, if you talk to Division II schools, if you talk to Barry University and Lynn and Nova Southeastern, they're all going to tell you it's hard for them to get games. So we actually have to travel more than I would have thought with the weather we have. We have to go a lot to Central Florida, get some games there. A lot of the NAIA schools, probably almost Central Florida is the furthest they'll go down south. So we play a lot of, we play a lot of Division II schools, and it's actually the way that we've established our program, believe it or not. We don't recruit to try to, we want to get to Lewiston and win a national championship, hopefully, or have that chance to play in that environment. But we almost recruit to be as good or try to beat the local Division II schools in our area. Because if we can compete every day with Barry University and North Southeastern and Lynn University, then I believe we can do that. Then we're ready to go in the NAIA and compete against the other teams in our conference. Now, our conference has gotten extremely competitive, but we try to just play one game at a time. It's so hard down here. If you get caught up in thinking playoffs and getting to the regionals or the opening round of the World Series, then you're going to have a lot of disappointment. So the one great thing I think about the NAIA, well, there's many, but one of the great things I love about them is that you do get that conference tournament, which gives you an opportunity, even if you have kind of a mediocre year. So you still have almost like a last-ditch effort to try to get into the playoffs. If you have a good season, you come 1 or 2, or you have a good season overall and you beat some good teams, you're probably going to get in that large bid. So the goal is to try to get to the opening round in regionals, and then whatever happens from there is great. But I think a goal of ours is to do well enough to get to the opening round and give ourselves a chance to make it to the World Series again. But typical season, hey man, we play a lot of hard teams. When we're not playing NAIA, we're playing those tough Division II schools, and it's just for, like Billy said before, it's for preparation. I want to compete at a high level. I want our players to feel comfortable playing tough teams because it's just going to get harder once you get to the playoffs.
Well, I think that speaks volumes to what those Division II programs think of your institution at St. Thomas, because, in-region games make a huge deal for the NCAA Division II postseason and seedings and the potential to make a regional. And if they're giving up a game to compete against you, there's a benefit for them to do that. And I think it
Well,
speaks volumes to the respect that they have for the program you built down there, man. That's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that, JR. One of the biggest compliments, and there's been a few, but one of the biggest compliments that I had was Nova Southeastern and Lynn. They always tell us, if we could only play once for whatever reason, because they only have one. Sometimes we try to play a home and home, but let's say they could only play once, and that has happened in the last few years a few times. I even asked Greg Brown when he was there. I go, hey, one game, you want to play at your place or mine? He said, no, I want to play at yours. And I asked him, well, why would you want to play at our place? And he said, because it gets us ready to play University of Tampa. It gets us ready to play Florida Southern. It's a very tough environment. And that, to me, it was a tremendous compliment. I didn't tell him at the time, but if they're telling you that they'd rather play you than play another Division II opponent to get them ready for the conference, you know how hard the Sunshine State Conference is.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That to me was a tremendous compliment. So yeah, the fact that they're playing us, and we have a tremendous amount of respect as coaches for each other down here in South Florida.
No doubt. Thank you.
I would also say that when you pair up those top programs in the NAIA, and I think Eric can speak to this, I think Kip can speak to this, I think, obviously George can speak to this. The level of baseball that gets played in those games is really tremendous, I think.
Yep.
And especially out in Lewiston in the World Series, some of the games that I've seen and either watching online or being there and watching, and I go to 2 games last year in the series in 2019. Obviously, Kip's comeback win in the first game that kind of extra innings and the whole thing starts and it's a great game. It's in the rain a little bit, some adversity, and then I would reference really George and I's game on Wednesday night with the 2 last undefeated teams and going down to the bottom of the ninth but I think to myself, the plays that were made in that game, and I remember, their shortstop going, behind the bag and making an underhanded flip back to Jack Baez and plays at the plate and, a diving catch in left center. So I think sometimes what people don't realize is they think the level is a little bit, maybe it's kind of below this or that, but when you start to put those teams together, I think you really are. It's an impressive thing to watch, whether you're in the game or whether you're just somebody in the stands.
No doubt. While you were speaking, Coach, I threw up some video on the screen of just some highlights from when you and Coach Perez kind of got together and duked it out a little bit. But for our members listening, I will be posting this video within the archive. So you'll find it right under the main archived episode. So you just click the link and you'll be able to see a bunch of highlights from the 2019, 2018, 2017 NAIA or Avista NAIA College World Series, because it's a rather remarkable environment. It's honestly a hidden gem in all of amateur baseball. It is absolutely unbelievable to see the community support in Lewiston, Idaho for this thing. Eric, do you want to, I know we were kind of talking a little bit, season wise and stuff, but do you want to touch on a little bit of the College World Series? I know you're on the committee out there and, do you want to kind of explain the environment and the support that exists out there for the NAIA?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be there last year as the ABCA volunteer rep for the committee, and Tony Repke over at Lyon College brought me on board to help him out, and I've been fortunate enough as well to be there as a coach. We went in 2017 as a program, our second season, and from both sides of it, the year we were there as a team, we were just in Gorge. There's so much to do. We do a community service event over at the local schools. You put together a clinic for the local kids, leading up to the event. And then it's like, okay, time's here. Let's go play baseball. It's been a while, and so it was neat. And to watch it from the other side. And, I think as a coach, when you're there, you don't really realize what's going on, or at least I didn't, and then being on the other end of it and helping try and coordinate it. And to watch these guys, specifically last year with Kip and George and Billy, doing those events and being hands-on and being present to that. The town appreciates it, and they let you know they appreciate it. You go to restaurants and you've got your badge and people wanted to talk to you, and you get your coffee in the morning and they ask how the game went last night. And, I think when we were there, we played the 11 o'clock game, and there was like 2,500 people, in attendance. You go to the LCC game at night, it's like playing in a big league park environment, and it's really impressive what the city does up there. I know that Brooke and her staff, they do a great job, and I think anybody that has an opportunity to go there, whether it's as a spectator, and certainly if lucky enough to do it as a program, it's worth the trip and the investment.
No doubt, no doubt. Thank you for sharing, Coach. Now we've got about 5 minutes left or so. So I kind of want to go around the horn with everybody again, but there's a couple of things I want to brief you on. So we'll go kind of closing remarks, but I would definitely want to hear a little bit about fall and the opportunity that exists within NAIA baseball, specific to player development. There isn't a clock like the NCAA puts on you. We're not counting hours. If you want to get into myths and stereotypes, or why NAIA. So essentially, we'll start with Coach Barry and just kind of go around the horn in alphabetical order again. Kind of give your closing remarks, and definitely pay attention to pointing out some of the stuff in the fall. And we'll go from there. Coach Barry, over to you.
I think George said it best a little while ago. I said, he said, welcome to the NAIA. It's do it all. I think that's the cool thing is that we are, we're with our guys in the weight room. We're with our guys at study hall. We're with our guys at check-ins in the morning. We're with our guys at practice. We're with our guys, whatever they do, we're there. There's no restrictions that doesn't allow us to be, and I don't think it's really that hands-on approach. I just think it's that the relationship piece. It helps to build that relationship and helps to build that trust, and you get to know guys on a different level than just as the baseball player, because that's the only really time that you see them when you're really grinding on the scouting reports or the preparation or just the in-season stuff. And I think that's something that's pretty cool. Also, I think that the creativeness as well. Like Manny said, just being able to just take a day and kind of throw it away and say, hey, we're going to take a breath and we're going to just kind of take a step back and realize that this thing's supposed to be fun. So I think we can really do a lot of different things. Yes, we want to win, and yes, this is a business, and yes, this is what we do for a living. But at the same time, nobody on this panel, at least maybe Kip, is making six figures. All right. So, nobody's job's on the line at the end of the day with how many games they're winning and how many games they're losing. So I think that's one of the differences is that really it's George said it a little while ago, there's not a ton of guys that go in the draft. There's not a ton of guys that go to the professional ranks. So it's a twofold process. You're trying to prepare these guys in the fall to play a season, but you're also trying to prepare these guys for what life's going to look like when they're 4 years eligible up and they graduate and they move on. And you close one chapter and you start another one. So I think that's the cool part about where we are. It's why I've been a small school guy my entire career, and it's why I'll continue to be a small school guy, just because of the fact of the opportunities that we have on a daily basis to interact with our kids, whether it be the fall, the winter, or the spring.
No doubt. Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Coach Cervantes, same opportunity, forwarded to you. Closing remarks, feel free to touch on anything or revisit anything.
Yeah.
What you got?
Yeah, just three things real quick. The small college environment, that's what I love, is the intimacy that we're able to develop with our players. As an example, we purposefully live across the street from campus. So we have the guys over for dinner. We do different things. We'll bring up in groups and all that. And that's just different. At least it was different than my Division I experience, so I love that. I think the second thing I wanted to touch on is our conference, the River States Conference. I think it's a strong, but I think also underrated conference. We got some really good programs. I think in 2019, Ryle Grand, Coach Wardham out, and IU Southeast, Coach Reel. They were in the tournament. I mean, those guys do an outstanding job year in and year out with their programs. Also Point Park out in Pittsburgh, Coach Torres does a great job. Coach Howard over at IU Kokomo, Coach Brantlin over at Midway. So, I mean, it's just really good baseball in our region. So I just definitely wanted to highlight the conference there real quick. And then I think the last thing I wanted to, I think to wrap up kind of this level of baseball is just the quality. I think we've talked about, I mean, as far as the players, I mean, there's some really good players. I mean, I've been around D1, D2, level, and a lot of those guys could play at that level, for different reasons. They're at smaller institutions, but they can ball. And I think the second thing is, just because it's a small college doesn't mean it's not an outstanding educational experience. And I think sometimes that gets underrated just because it's a smaller environment. And then the third thing, the thing that probably surprised me the most was the quality of the coaches within the NAIA system. We've got some outstanding coaches that love their guys, that could probably coach at higher levels, but for different reasons have chosen to coach at, at the smaller college environment. So I would say, just the overall quality of the NAIA experience is what I'd want to leave people with. So.
No doubt. Thank you, Coach. Coach McWilliams, closing thoughts?
And Manny's right. I mean, you think about some of the coaches at the NAIA level, Coach Woody Hunt there at Cumberland. I mean, I'm not sure how many victories he's got. You got Coach Craybaugh at Oklahoma City, and there's so many more out there that have, 3,000 wins or something like that. I mean, they've been around for a long time, but they basically are the face of NAIA baseball. And the other thing I think is the development part of it, as we keep all touching base on, is just development of the academics, of the development of the person, development of the ball player. And that's so important on this. And we can go out and recruit, and we see a 5-tool player out there that everybody wants. And, we might not get that guy, but what we have to recruit is maybe the 2 or 3-tool player and help develop those other areas of it and help that person along in the game of baseball and develop those skills and make them feel more confident and comfortable playing the game and so forth. And just like what Billy said, it helps develop those relationships and everything else. So, just because it's small college baseball, I think sometimes young people today think I can go play NAIA if I can't go play D1 or D2. And man, it's tough out there because there's some really great ball players, some really great teams. And there might be some teams out there that anybody can play for. But I think if you look at it from a perspective that, hey, I'm going to go there, get a great education, get a great baseball experience, and compete for a national championship, you're going to do that a lot in those NAIA schools and those opportunities. So I think that's very important that young people today understand that.
No doubt. Thank you, Coach. Coach Perez, closing thoughts?
We talked about how fortunate we all are at the institutions that we're at. I had some great mentors in my life, and the coaches that I played for, coaches that I coach with. But there's one phrase that Paul Maneri told me a very long time ago, and he says, "Treat your place like it's big time. It doesn't matter where you're at." So I always tell our guys that we're going to treat our place like it's the New York Yankees. I don't care what you think of the level. That's the way we treat our place. And we've been fortunate that the last 5 or 6 years, at first I would get that when we're trying to recruit. They said, "Oh, you guys are an NAIA school," and they're talking about NCAA and that myth, those the same things you were talking about. We don't get that anymore. I can care less what they say, Division I, Division II, because that I talk about our place again like it's the best place in the world, and that's how everybody should talk about their place. So we knocked that myth out of the ballpark a long time ago. So we don't have that. What I love about the NAIA again is that in the fall we develop guys. We don't have those time restrictions. We get to concentrate on each position and really teach them the game, as well as talk about their personal lives and see how they're doing. Because Billy said it best, man. There's a ton of distractions now. Social media, there's a million things going on in their lives that they can distract them from the game. It's not as simple as it used to be. So we try to talk to them and try to talk to them as people. And one thing I always say to a recruiter, to another guy, I go, listen, our program, put us wherever you want and play us against whoever you want. We really don't care. So, and let's see how we do. And I think that myth is broken down. You know how every player is always thinking Division I. Hey, I want to go to Division I school. Well, okay, go to Division I school up north that probably came and play in our that can come and play at our league. That if they come and play in our league, they'll probably come in 7th or 8th place. So yeah, you can go to D1s, but there's that's what I believe. You know, there's some schools out there. There's good Division I schools and there's bad Division I schools. Same thing as, and you know, D2 schools, D3, NAIA. It doesn't really matter. So you know, there's a lot of good places to play baseball. I think the NAIA has grown a tremendous amount, and I'm proud to be an NAIA coach because I don't look at it. Oh, the NAIA is an inferior level. That's BS. That's not true. Billy said, but go to the World Series, go play, go watch a game there. I always tell the recruits, hey, come watch us play Division II schools. Come watch a college game to see if you're really good enough or fit enough to play at that level. So, you know, coaches said a lot of great things, and I agree with a lot of them. The NAIA, it's grown a lot. That experience in Lewiston is unique. The experience that we get to go to a conference tournament, that we have an opening round, that we get to play actually at times more games than Division II schools. So you get to develop more. So again, NAIA is a good level. And those myths that were broken already, that's you know, at our place we don't even talk about that anymore. But it used to piss me off 8 years ago when kids used to think that way. You know?
You got George on a roll the last 10 minutes. You got George on a roll.
I get hot, man.
I mean, honestly,
don't tell us we're not good enough.
Honestly, that's the point of this whole episode is really to communicate and educate our member coaches who have recruitable student athletes that there's great baseball all across this country. It's not about a governing body. It's not about a level or a division. It's about finding the right fit for them. And there's so many kids who would thrive in a small school environment, that would thrive in a classroom where you have 12 teachers to one, or 12 students to one teacher. It's about educating our coaches. So yeah, we want you on the platform, man. That's when the real Coach Perez comes out, because there's great baseball everywhere. And it doesn't.
JR, if I could just add on that. I mean,
by all means,
you know, the Division I thing, don't get me wrong, it's great baseball, it's advertised and everything else too, but you know, you don't really see the D1 schools down playing Tennessee Wesleyan. You know, I know George had a couple of D1 schools on their schedule, but you don't see too many of them. And you ask some of those Division I coaches why, you know, because they know that it's going to be a tough game. And you know, I've had many Division I coaches up north tell us like, hey, we're not going to play you, you know, because we're throwing our midweek guys that game, and it's going to be a struggle for us to compete with you guys in that. And then that's awesome that they're upfront and honest with us on that. And we had a game we picked up a game a few years back with a D1 school. I'm not going to mention who, but you know, we're playing. We had a rain delay, and we went 13 innings. We lost 13-12. But in the rain delay, it was we were up 7-5 in the 8th inning, and their coach comes over in our dugout just during the delay, and he goes, "Yeah, man, we're not going to play you guys again." And it's like, all right, that's fine. That's, you know, that's good. But we would love to play Division I schools, and not saying that we're arrogant, thinking we can go out and beat them, but we just know it's about the development. We want to play the best teams out there possible.
Yeah.
Just to give our guys that experience.
No doubt. Thank you for sharing, Coach. Coach Pfohl, same question goes to you. Or I shouldn't say question, you know, kind of activity, closing remarks. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I think actually I was just getting ready to kind of touch on what Kip did. You know, a lot of it's the experience. You know, our kids invest a lot, time, effort, money, in order to be here. And I think it's our responsibility to provide them with the best experience we can. And, you know, we play in a competitive conference. You know, last year we had 3 teams in the championship games of opening rounds. 2017, we had 2 teams in the World Series. You know, I think that our conference, you know, you've got to be prepared for it. And so we set out to try and, along with creating the experience, prepare our guys. And we've done the same thing. You know, these guys are mentioning we've over the 4 years, we've played 10 Division II schools. My buddies over at Cal Poly Pomona kind of set us up to get us going with that. You know, they were coming off a couple World Series wins, and fostered that or parlayed that into games with UC San Diego. You know, they've gone back-to-back World Series national championship title games. And We're 7-3 in those games, and it's not a brag. It's just that's the quality of baseball that can be played, and that's the beauty of baseball. We could go play 7 little league teams and be 0-7. That's just how this game works at times. But a lot of it goes into that development that they touched on. I think that's something that we focus on in our program. We've invested in that financially. We've similar to these guys, I'm sure we've got the Rapsodos, we've got the technology to try and help continue to develop you. We've hired eye doctors that come and work with our guys. They go out and work with different organizations that slow the game down. Ryan Harrison and his late dad, Bill, have been instrumental in what we've done. We've got a sports psychologist, and Trey McCullough that comes out, and he does a great job with our guys as well, too. And, it's just, it's trying to give everybody whatever tools and resources that those kids need to go out and be successful. Ultimately, it's not about us as coaches. We're not the ones that go out there and get the wins and losses. They do. And when they're prepared and they feel confident, we've got a better chance to keep our jobs. And, that's what we're all trying to do. And I think that allows us to continue to impact these lives like everybody's talked about. But, it's good baseball. I was watching last year from the sidelines at the World Series and watching some of those games. I've been to Division I games in the stands, and you guys are right. It's not watching much different. I saw some opening games with, a left-hander that was up to 93 and a right-hander that was up to 96 in games, and it's like, man, these guys are good, and that's what you got to prepare for. And, I think that development, certainly, and the humble brag in me has got to, we're 4 years into our program. We've had 4 draft picks that have never been drafted before come into our place. And, I think anybody, a lot of these guys are going to have similar stories to that, but that's the commitment level that you're going to get and the quality of coaches that you guys, that these guys have mentioned, and it's across the country. It's not just us. It's not just our conference. We've been out to different places and seen some unbelievable teams and unbelievable talents. And, these guys are right. It's a unbelievable level of baseball that I'm blessed to be a part of.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. As I mentioned before, the whole goal of this episode was really just to educate our coaching membership as to options that exist. As you all know, with the condensed Major League Baseball draft, roster sizes and additional eligibility waivers being granted, like there's going to be guys looking for options. And I feel like it was our job to help communicate like, hey, this is a viable option. You guys need to check these programs out, check these institutions out, because I don't want to get into the numbers of everything, but if you take a draft that's normally pulling 1,400 kids each year and signing them to professional baseball, if half of those kids are going to be drafted after their junior year, they're not going to be drafted anymore. They're going to come back for their senior year. So long story short is that's 700 roster spots essentially that are not going to be available next year. So these recruitable student athletes need to know what options exist. And the NAIA and these smaller institutions, the baseball doesn't play small. I can tell you that for sure. But gentlemen, thank you so much for you participating, opening the doors to your programs, sharing a little bit, and ultimately educating our coaches as to what NAIA baseball is. That's all we have time for this evening, folks. If you missed something or clicked in a little bit late, you'll be able to view this episode on demand via the Coaching Resource Library section of our website and our My ABCA mobile application. Typically, we have that up within about 24 hours or so. Make sure to tune in next week as we have a very special episode of ABCA at Home in store for you. We'll be honoring and remembering a college baseball legend, the legacy of Coach Augie Garrido. Our panel will feature some of Garrido's former assistants and players unraveling a special form of mentorship that made a positive impact upon their teams, their personal life, and their careers. Joining us will be Jason Gill, currently the head coach at the University of Southern California, who played under Garrido at Cal State Fullerton in '94 and served as a graduate assistant at Fullerton from '95 to '96. George Horton, retired collegiate coach, formerly head coach at the University of Oregon and Cal State Fullerton, as well as a USA baseball national team coach. He played for Coach Garrido at Cal State in '75 and '76, and he coached alongside Garrido at Cal State Fullerton from 1990 to 96. And who played under Coach Garrido at the University of Texas from 2001 to 2004 and won a national championship at Texas in 2002. Phil Nevin, 12-year Major League Baseball career, 1992 first-round draft pick, first pick overall. Played for Garrido at Cal State Fullerton from 1990 to 1992. He's currently the third base coach with the New York Yankees. And finally, Houston Street, who played under Coach Garrido at the University of Texas from 2001 to 04, won a national championship in 02, as well as pitched in the big leagues for 13 years. I believe he was a 2005 Rookie of the Year. But we've got an awesome panel, guys, and all we're trying to do is honor Coach Garrido's legacy to allow his former players and his former coaches to share his message with our membership. So make sure to tune in for that. It'll be next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to our panelists, our production team, Pact Network, and our sponsor, Pocket Radar. These are the guys that made this thing happen. On behalf of everyone here at the ABCA, our board of directors, executive committee, Craig Kylitz, John Litchfield, Juan Clark, Zach Hale, Matt West, Sarah Barlock, Ryan Brownlee, and Mike Odom, thank you and stay safe out there.
Tonight's episode of ABCA At Home Perspectives is made possible by Pocket Radar. Pocket Radar's smart coach app system, with its unique ability to automatically capture videos with embedded velocities, allows coaches to stay connected and work remotely with current players and new recruits. Their Bring Your Training Home initiative will provide education and resources, including webinars and a limited time discount to help players remotely train, develop, and be seen at home with video analysis tools. Check out their 2020 Expo Theater presentation located in the ABCA Video Library.